The story begins with a lonely street dog. He had been hungry for many days. Wandering through the streets, he searched everywhere for food. One day, he reached a chicken shop. There he somehow managed to steal a bone, but while running away, he bumped into a man. The bone slipped from his mouth and got lost in the noisy crowd. The poor dog looked heartbroken. His eyes were full of sadness and disappointment. Just then, a group of army soldiers was marching by. Among them was a kind soldier named Robert. When Robert saw the dog, he stopped and gave him a biscuit. The dog's eyes lit up with joy. He wagged his tail happily and started following Robert. Soon the war had begun. World War II. French and British soldiers were fighting against the German army. The United States soon joined the war, determined to defeat Germany at any cost. To prepare, America started giving military training to its young citizens. Stubby, the street dog, followed Robert all the way to the training camp. Robert entered with his fellow soldiers, and the clever little dog sneaked in through a broken wall. He followed the smell of food straight into the kitchen, but before he could eat anything, the chef spotted him and yelled, "Get out of here!" Stubby ran away in fear, and once again bumped into Robert. Seeing Robert, the dog's tail wagged fast. Robert smiled and said softly, "I don't have any more biscuits, buddy." But Stubby didn't understand the words, only the kindness in Robert's voice. From that moment, he wanted to stay with him forever. During training, a senior officer noticed the dog. He liked him immediately and told Robert, "After training, make sure that dog gets something to eat." Later that evening, Robert took him to the canteen and fed him properly. The next morning, while Robert trained, the dog ran beside him, barked playfully, and followed every move. The officers were surprised. This dog wasn't afraid of gunfire like other strays. He understood human gestures quickly. They realized he was special, a dog that could serve in the army. That night, Robert sat beside him and said, "You're a brave little one. I'll call you Stubby." He started teaching him how to follow human commands. The next day, the colonel visited the camp. Stubby saw all the officers salute, so he copied them. Standing straight, raising his paw like a soldier. Everyone burst into laughter. The colonel smiled and said, "Let him stay here. He belongs with us." And just like that, Stubby became part of the army family. He trained, played, and learned discipline. Everyone loved him. Then came the day when Robert's unit received orders to move to the battlefield. It was called the Yankee Division. Before leaving, the colonel wished them good luck and ordered Stubby to stay behind for the next batch of trainees. Robert was sad. He didn't want to leave Stubby. Before leaving, he gave him a small badge and whispered, "Be good boy. I'll be back." But Stubby had other plans. He broke free from his leash, followed Robert's scent, and somehow reached the train. He jumped inside and hid quietly. Later, he even sneaked onto the army ship, hiding in a wooden box. That night, when everyone was asleep, Stubby came out of the box. He searched every corner until he finally found Robert. Robert couldn't believe his eyes. "How did you get here, Stubby?" he whispered, smiling. But before they could celebrate, Stubby accidentally ran into the general. When the soldiers saluted the general, Stubby stood up and saluted too. Then, when the general dropped his cane, Stubby picked it up with his mouth and handed it back. Everyone was stunned. The general smiled proudly and said, "This dog's a real soldier. Make him an official member." And so, Stubby received his own nameplate. The street dog had become a military dog. Stubby traveled with Robert and his team to France. There, the British and French armies fought fiercely against the Germans. During one attack, soldiers were trapped under rubble. Stubby fearlessly ran into the debris, barking and digging, helping rescue many lives. From that day, he became a hero in the camp. Robert made a new friend, a French soldier named Gaston. Together, they faced the harsh realities of war. One morning, while on patrol, they discovered that the Germans were planning a poison gas attack. They ran back to warn their unit. As they ran, a German soldier aimed his rifle at Robert. Before he could shoot, Stubby jumped forward, pushed Robert to the ground, and saved his life. Robert pointed to a gas mask and signaled Stubby to warn everyone. Stubby understood instantly. He ran to camp, grabbed a mask in his mouth, and barked loudly. The soldiers quickly put on their masks. Just as the German gas bombs exploded overhead, green gas spread across the battlefield. A nearby village was also in danger. Stubby ran there before the gas reached. He barked with all his strength, warning the villagers. They looked up, saw the green sky, and rushed to seal their homes and wear masks. Robert and Gaston arrived soon after and carried Stubby inside, covering his face with a cloth to protect him. When the gas finally cleared, the villagers surrounded Stubby, cheering and crying. He had saved them all. Back at camp, the captain announced a soldier was missing. Stubby sniffed the air, followed the trail through bullets and explosions, and found the injured man. He barked until the rescuers came. Another life saved. Before leaving that area, a village woman gifted Stubby a handmade jacket. Gaston gave him a gas mask of his own. Soon, the colonel announced a direct face-off against the Germans. The battle was fierce and bloody. Stubby once again proved his courage. He led a group of German soldiers into an American ambush, helping capture them alive. But one day, while saving a soldier from a grenade, Stubby was badly injured. Robert carried him back to camp, and the doctor rushed him to the hospital. Separated from his friend, Robert was heartbroken. He couldn't focus on the war anymore. Soon after, Gaston was sent back to his own camp. Robert felt more alone than ever. He wrote letters to his sister telling her about Stubby and the emptiness he felt without him. The doctors warned that his health was getting worse. Meanwhile, Stubby, still limping, refused to rest. He began his long journey to find Robert. He walked through pain, through exhaustion, but he never stopped. Finally, after great struggle, Stubby found Robert again. Tears filled Robert's eyes. He hugged Stubby tightly and whispered, "You found me, you brave boy." From that day, Robert's fever disappeared. He healed faster, smiled again, and the two were inseparable once more. During their leave, Robert, Stubby, and friends went to Paris. They laughed, walked the streets, and enjoyed their freedom. Stubby had become a symbol of loyalty and courage. He even helped the military catch a German spy. The general promoted him to an honorary officer, and Robert was promoted too. Now Stubby wasn't just a dog, he was a respected soldier, a true comrade. Later, when the war neared its end, word spread that the ceasefire would be announced at 11 a.m. the next morning. Everyone felt hopeful. They would finally go home. But just before 11 a.m., the Germans launched one last attack. The battlefield erupted once again. Robert saw Gaston surrounded by enemies and rushed to help him. And right at that moment, the ceasefire was declared. The guns fell silent. The German soldiers dropped their weapons and surrendered. Robert looked at his watch. It was exactly 11 o'clock. The war was over. Stubby wagged his tail. They were finally going home. At the harbor, crowds gathered to welcome their heroes. Stubby walked beside Robert, proudly wearing his uniform and medal. Photographers captured his picture, a picture that remains famous to this day. Because Stubby's story is real. He served in 17 battles, saved countless lives, and proved that true courage comes from the heart, not from rank or uniform. He showed the world that humanity doesn't only live in humans. Stubby is gone now, but his love, his loyalty, and his bravery will live forever. That's the mark of a true hero. If this story touched your heart, share it with everyone who understands the value of loyalty.